Yes, Argentina last Monday raised their central bank's interest rates up another 6% to 97% interest. Now, that sounds really cool that you put your money in the bank and get 97% interest, but remember that this is due to the fact that inflation is even higher. The government benchmark of inflation for April was 109%. Just imagine losing half of the value of all of your wealth in just 1 year. Everything that you hold in dollars or whatever currency you're in right now, imagine that next year, this time next year, being worth half the value that it is today. Suddenly, the 5% interest rate or the 4 or 5% or 6% interest rate you're getting would not sound very appealing in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to go over 5 ways in which people in Argentina are dealing with this hyperinflation. But friends, Argentina is now where the United States and Europe will soon be. This is what it looks like for a currency to implode. When we talk about the de-dollarization, when we talk about inflation, we talk about something that, as it catches fire, this fire spreads. Inflation is like a wildfire, and there is nothing that can stop it except extremely high interest rates and government spending that comes under control. Fat chance on either of those, right? The United States Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, it is so far behind the curve. We know that real interest rates are somewhere between 15 to 20% at the very least. You go into your stores and you're seeing this kind of inflation, and we're looking at Federal Reserve interest rates around 5% is well below inflation level. Inflation is killed when interest rates go above inflation. And when the government doesn't even know what the inflation rate is, it certainly will not raise the interest rates above that. Of course, if it took the interest rates up to 15 to 20%, it would destroy the U.S. Economy. Because the U.S. economy is just debt-based. It's all this loans out there. It's one big Ponzi scheme. And this is what we keep talking about. But I want to take you through this real life example. We've seen Zimbabwe implode, and right now we're watching in real time Argentina implode again. Yes, Argentina has defaulted on their debt numerous times. I know, everyone's there like, the United States can't possibly default on its debt. As I've talked in a previous video, sovereign governments have defaulted hundreds of times in the last several hundred years. Like, this isn't something that doesn't happen. This is something that happens on a regular basis out there. Now, has it happened in the United States? Yes, the United States has defaulted on debt several times already. I know, people are like, it's unheard of, it could not possibly happen, and yet the United States has already done it before. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? The fact that the United States could default on its debt is absolutely possible. In addition to that, hyperinflation is absolutely possible in the United States too. Former countries that were world empires have gone into hyperinflationary cycles. The UK has, Spain has, France has, Germany has. You go through it, and as you see declining world powers that over-indebt themselves, eventually turn into hyperinflationary cycles. And that is definitely something that we could and probably will see in the very near future. So how do you deal with this? Now, one of the things in prepper circles that everyone always repeats, and you know, it sounds good, but actually it's kind of wrong. They say the first thing you should do is you should pay down your debts. Friends, that's actually kind of not true. In fact, how you play the game with debt actually can become very advantageous to you in a high inflation cycle. If you borrow, say, $100,000 today, and you go and buy just silver or gold. You buy something that's going to stay in, is going to hold its value, okay? You buy, as I like to call it, you buy a pile of gravel, okay? You buy you borrow $100,000 at 5% interest, buy a pile of gravel. Over the next year, the currency has an inflation of 100%. You take half that pile of gravel, sell it at face market value, right? And you pay back your loan. Whether that's gravel or rice, or whether that's silver or gold, you take half of the pile of silver or gold and then you sell it and you pay off your entire loan. Have you made out well here or not? The answer is absolutely. You made out really well. If inflation is higher than the interest rate you're paying, you're actually making money by borrowing money. Now, before you run up all your credit cards at 30% interest or whatever it is nowadays, I advocate your credit cards, make sure that you're paying those off every month. Yeah, absolutely. Those are predatory interest rates. But if you have like a mortgage locked in at a low interest rate, if you have a car loan locked in a low interest rate, if you have refinanced debt that's locked into low interest rates, if you're sitting at a 4 or 5% interest rate, you're actually making money right now. As long as that money that you've borrowed, you've bought assets that aren't losing in value. So, like I said, let's walk through the 5 things. This is an article, I think it's out by CNN, but walking through 5 things that people in Argentina are doing to protect themselves. So this is elementary level. This is what people are kind of figuring their way out in Argentina. These aren't people that are playing the game well. These are just regular people on the street. This is what they're doing. And like I said, this isn't like high level stuff. This isn't necessarily suggested how you should deal with inflation. But you're going to see some things here that sound pretty familiar with stuff we say here on this channel and what other people say on other channels. First thing they do is they're using lots of interest-free installment loans. So a lot of the shops in Argentina, the grocery stores, other shops, they're offering, pay it off in 3 months, interest-free. And you've probably seen those kind of offers in the United States and other places with these credit card companies and stuff like that, where they're offering you pay it off in 4 months, 4 installments, or more months installments. And if you spread out over a longer period of time, interest-free, the realization is that 4 months from now, when you pay back that installment loan, the money that you're going to be giving them is worth less than the goods that you're getting today. So once again, that example of if you got that loan out and you buy the whole pile of whatever, gold, silver, platinum, whatever, and then a year later you sell half the pile to pay off the loan, you actually make out well. And so the same thing as you're playing that in micro scale. Anytime you can get an interest-free loan, or anytime you can get a loan that's less than the inflation rate, you're kind of making money as long as you're able to immediately purchase something that's not going to lose value or something that you need, right? So interest-free installment loans, make use of those things as they're available, but you gotta make sure that you can pay those things off. If you can't pay those things off, you need to have a income that's going up through that. Number 2, they're having clubs that swap things, barter directly with people, where they're not going into the currency and coming back out of the currency. If I have something that you want, something used, if you need some blankets and I have some blankets, I can swap that to you for something that you have, and we can just avoid the whole currency thing altogether. And that is just better that way, doing swapping or bartering. And as things get difficult, like in Argentina, a lot of these different clubs are springing up all over the place where people are able to deal directly with each other. Think about whether you're going to be the person that's going to organize one of these things, or if you have a club or you have people around you that are already kind of doing that kind of thing, that you can join in with them on that. And just think through, what are people going to want that maybe I'll be able to have? Think through that as well. Number 3, bulk buying or stocking up. We talk a lot about that here, is stocking up on things that aren't going to go bad over the years. Buy canned food, buy things that have a long shelf life. Stock up now for when inflation really gets out of control. You're going to have what you need, and you're not going to need to go out and buy it. Number 4, what they're doing is they're hiding in dollars. They're exchanging their currency very quickly to get into dollars, and then they're holding dollar bills. Now, if the United States dollar starts imploding, where are you going to hide then? Are you going to hide in Swiss francs? Are you going to hide in some other paper currency? I keep recommending that you hide in physical metals. I think that is the best place to hide. You're not going to get rich hiding in precious metals, but you're not going to get poor, okay? You're going to hold the purchasing power of your currency when you exchange it into real money, silver, gold, platinum. That's why we talk a lot about that here, because when the dollar as a reserve currency starts to implode itself, there really isn't going to be a safe haven out there other than physical metals and tangible goods. So they're hiding in dollars, though, in Argentina because they can. It's the most convenient thing that they can do. Number 5, they are spending money as soon as they get it. They get the money and they immediately spend it because they know that the money's going to lose value over the next little bit. So they just need to get out there and spend it as fast as they can. We saw this in the Weimar Republic. We saw this in many other places where we have a hyperinflation, as people getting paid multiple times a day in some places, where their spouse comes to work to get their paycheck or gets their pay, immediately goes out the market and buys the things that they need, and then comes back in the middle of the day to pick up the second part of the paycheck, and then goes out and purchases the things that they need. We saw this type of thing happening out there. It's just the value of the currency is dropping so fast that it's very advantageous and worthwhile to do crazy sounding things like that. And so when you have currency, you need to spend it immediately. Those are some basic things that they're doing already in Argentina. And like I said, that has echoes of other currency collapses and hyperinflation situations in other countries. A lot of you probably haven't heard about what's happening in Argentina. That's what we do on this channel. We talk about things that the media is just not talking about. I do a lot of searching through the internet and looking for news stories. A lot of you guys send me in little tips as well to kind of point me in the right direction of looking at things. But we hear the crisis in South Africa, and I keep harping on that because it's awful what's happening there. Argentina, what's happening there is awful as well, and it's getting worse. And it is definitely something you need to be paying attention to see how it works, so that when times change in the United States and Europe, that you will be prepared for those things too. Genesis Gold Group sponsors these videos, a lot of these videos, and they do a fantastic job helping people move their retirement funds out of stocks, bonds, and dollars to gold, silver, platinum, IRAs, 401ks, moving retirement funds over there to get them into something secure, physical coins that are yours. So when you get a distribution out of your IRA, you're not getting dollars in your hands. You're going to actually get physical coins, the ones that you put in the bank vault. So if you want to talk to them, you can find them down in the description down below. They do a fantastic job. Let them know that you came from here so that they will waive your setup fees. They're still doing that. So thanks so much for watching, folks. Keep paying attention to what's going on in the world out there. Learn from other people's mistakes so that you can avoid those mistakes yourself, right? If you want to check out another video, there's one right here on the screen. from this channel. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.